Can you tell us about the first time you and Marc met?
Well, I actually met him in the interview. That was the kind of the first time, and we had a fine interview. The big kind of confrontation that I had with him, which kind of explains his personality then, was I was kind of responsible for the server product line when I got there, and we had 2 engineers working on servers and I think 120 working on the client, so the browser. But the story to Wall Street was that we were going to, once Microsoft bundled the browser with the operating system, we were going to get all our money from the servers. We're going to sell the web server for $5,000, or the secure web server with SSL for $5,000, and then the insecure web server for $1,200, and that was going to be how we're going to be this big company worth all the money. And we had 2 engineers on it, and we were building it up, and like 2 months into the job, we get our hands on Microsoft's product, which was IIS, and I benchmarked it out. It was 5 times faster than our product, and then it had more features. So it was like, uh-oh. And we knew it was going to be free, so I was like, oh, we're in a ton of trouble.
Were you guys already public?
Yeah, we were. Well, we went public through that period, so we're on our way to going public.
And was it true the main reason you went public then was because Jim Clark wanted to buy a boat?
That did factor into it.
The great Netscape moment we all hear about was simply because of a boat.
Yeah, but to Jim's credit, it turned out to be a good idea. So we go public during that period, and so me and the late great Mike Homer were kind of left to figure out, okay, what are we going to do about the server product line? And we got this idea that Microsoft was going to have to charge for back office. So if we could assemble kind of like this open back office, we could then kind of reverse the whole thing. So we did, I bought 2 companies, one for mail and then one for news groups, and then we put in the proxy server, and then I cut this deal with Informix to get their database. The database which they were charging, the relational database, which was super expensive, for $50 for unlimited web users, because nobody was going to actually use it through the web because the web was a toy. So I completely ran that by them right before their CEO went to jail. And so we had all this, and we built it all up, and we planned this massive launch in New York City with on stage and big lights and all these things, and everybody from the press was coming, and it was going to be awesome. And 2 weeks before the launch, Marc leaks the entire strategy and the entire story to not the Wall Street Journal, not the New York Times, but Computer Reseller News. Which was the best of the Computer Reseller News VAR magazines, But it was, and the reporter was very good, and he got the whole story out of Marc, like the pricing, all the components. It was going to take on back office, and I was so upset, and so I sent him an email. I'm like, I guess we're not going to wait for the launch. That was just 1-line email, and he replies, and CC Mike Homer, who was my boss, Jim Barksdale, who was the CEO, and Jim Clark, who was the volatile founder. And his email said, and I don't remember it exactly, but I remember a lot of it. He said, well, I guess you really don't understand what's going on. We're getting killed, and losing billions of dollars in value every day because server product management, which was basically me, has no idea what they're doing. Next time, do the fucking interview yourself. Fuck you, Marc. And I got that email on the day he was on the cover of Time magazine.
Barefoot.
So I brought home the email and the Time magazine, and I showed it to, and you have to remember at the time, or you have to know at the time, I had 3 small children, and I really needed the job. And I showed it to my wife, and she just burst into tears. And so I was like, I'm in trouble. So that was how my relationship with Marc started.